ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
Hello, and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and with me today for a very special episode is Terri Morrow.
Hello.
Nicole Eredics can't be with us today, but you will hear from her because we are going to take a final look back at 2016 in this episode and look at some of our most popular episodes from 2016. And we're also going to take a look back. Terri and I made some pop culture related resolutions last year. Yeah, so we are going to check in and see how we did on those. We decided specifically to make pop culture resolutions on our round 2. Mm-hmm. And one of them was to watch Parks and Rec.
Yay!
So we totally did that.
One resolution, check. Let's just forget about let's just leave it at that, shall we?
Move on.
And move on. The rest, well, not so good.
Well, we did okay. We did the Parks and Rec rewatch,
yes.
which you can hear in many of our round 2 episodes from this past.
Yes, we will link to that in our show notes. You can just binge our Parks and Rec binge. It's sort of amazing to me to think that we did that entire marathon, plus we did the sports night entire marathon.
Yeah, I'm
one year
too. I didn't realize that we had started the Parks and Rec just this in 2016. I kind of thought we started before that. So good on us.
Absolutely. I feel like watching some of those again right now.
Mm-hmm. There are some good ones, and you can, if you look back at our archives, you can find some of our favorites.
Yes.
So that
go watch Flu Season right now. As soon as you're done with this, it will always make your day better.
Right. And another resolution I made that was TV related was to try something new, a new show. And the 2 that I mentioned were Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and Empire.
Yeah, how'd you do?
I never did Empire. I did watch a few episodes of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and I liked them, but then I never watched anymore. So,
yes.
But this fall I picked up Speechless and This Is Us.
And you have been keeping up with those?
I have.
I have a whole bunch of Speechless episodes I got to watch, but I'm going to watch them. I like that show a lot, and I enjoy all the many clips they put on the internet. So I feel connected still.
One of your resolutions last year was to get rid of your old DVR box that you were hanging on to just because it had some old shows on it, even though you could get those same shows on Netflix.
Yeah, it had the entire last season of Fringe, and so we held on to it because we were going to watch it, and then it got to be like years had passed, and it was kind of ridiculous. And yes, you could watch them other places, and honestly, we probably were never going to watch it anyway. So we did finally get a new box. We said goodbye to that old stuff, and I'm sure your next follow-up question is, and your current box is completely clean of back recordings, right? You've been right up to the minute. You've learned your lesson. You've not let things languish. And I think anybody who listens to this podcast regularly will know that that is not the case. I now have many other things built up on it, including all those episodes of Speechless I just said I was going to catch up on. So my daughter is sort of in charge of recording for me all the things I'm going to want to watch later.
Okay.
So she's doing a very good job.
She's like your DVR concierge.
Yeah. See, we have this now, all the multi-room DVR. So instead of each of us programming our individual DVRs for ourselves, we all have the same pool. So not only can she record things for me that I can then watch on our TV, but we get to see all the things she's recording. My husband occasionally will go through and say, who recorded this? Who recorded that? She's going to watch that. So we have that extra dimension to our entertainment now. Is being able to notice all the interesting things that my daughter tapes. It's like, that's what DVRs are for. You know what? You see something that might be interesting, you tape it, you watch a few minutes of it. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, you delete it. This is how we watch TV these days. We sample. So, yeah, so I did get rid of the DVR, but I have now replicated the
issue
backup.
on the new DVR. Well, another one of your resolutions was to see a movie, and I know you saw a movie.
I did. I saw one movie this year, which was Moana. And, you know, Lin-Manuel Miranda will get me in the seat. I can't watch his play because there's no possibility of getting tickets, but I can watch his Disney movie. Yes.
That's right.
I will even watch Mary Poppins when it comes out.
Oh,
even though it sounds like a really bad idea, if he's in it, I will be there.
Well, and I like Emily Blunt too, although I don't see her as a Mary Poppins type.
Yes, it's one of those where you like the people who are in it, and you will go see it anyway, even though it seems like something that you would not like. But you know what? You enjoy watching the people you enjoy watching.
Right. Well, and I resolved to see an Oscar-nominated movie.
Yeah.
And I looked back at the Best Picture nominees, and I saw 3 of them. Brooklyn, Bridge of Spies, and The Martian. But I am not sure that I saw them before the Oscars.
You get to lie now. You get to say that you did. You know, you don't have to add that extra bit of information.
Just look back at our archives to find out. I know Brooklyn. I remember I watched that on the airplane, and that was well after the Oscars. But the other 2 I might have actually watched before the Oscars.
Let's just say you did.
Yeah, let's. So now we have to try to replicate that one for this year.
No.
When the nominees come.
I will watch anything that's been nominated that sounds like it will be a good time. And that's generally none of them. So when they start nominating comedies and musicals, well, you know what? La La Land should get some nominations. I want to see that. I'm sure it will. We should. The only way I ever see any pop culture for sure lately is if we say we're going to talk about it on the podcast. Right. So we need to look over the field and say, let's do an episode on that. And then I will have to get my butt to a theater. Okay. Or have to watch something on TV. We need to do a speechless feature every week. We need to do it that way I'll watch it.
Taking it on this week's Speechless.
Yes. And you know what? I see here that I also said that I was going to read one of your book club books this year. And I don't believe I did that. My reading is even worse than my movie going this year. Right. I read so much for my work that I just have not. I went through a little spurt in which I was reading for pleasure, I guess early in the year maybe, when I discovered that Barnes & Noble had its little Nook free books on it that you could have a serial read. I did that for a little while. And then I just have not been able to get back to it. I actually bought some books to read that are still sitting dusty on my side table, mocking me because it's just... I did read Hamilton the Revolution. I'm staring at it now.
There you go.
That I did read. That was irresistible. That I just had to sit down and read immediately. But not so much other books. And let's try again for me to read one of your book club books this year. Pick one when you get your list that I might like. Pick one for the one for November. Tell me in advance how long ahead do they plan.
Okay. We have a couple months picked out, but we do not have November at this point.
I may need a little more time.
Right.
But let me know. I think I picked one that seemed like I would like it, and then I still never read it.
Yeah.
I have bad follow through.
Well, did you ever follow? I think you did this one. You wanted to use Apple Music enough to be worth the money. And so you said you wanted to listen to it every day. And I think you do.
I think I do pretty much. I really, really enjoyed having it. And it's been great for not only listening to things like the Hamilton cast album and the Hamilton mixtape on constant repeat. And In the Heights also. But also, sampling new music. If I hear of somebody, to look them up and listen to it right away without having to commit to buying a CD. And to, as songs come up in conversation, be able to play it. Right. That has been fun. So I'm happy with it. I'm glad I have it. And I've, I do listen to it on a regular enough basis that I think it's worth the money.
Good.
So that I'm happy. So that was a good resolution.
I'm a
happy Apple Music user. However, I see that I also said that I was going to consider trying Breaking Bad, and I did not do that. And I'm never going to do that because I can't even watch current TV unless we decide to watch it for the podcast.
Right.
I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah.
But we are doing our West Wing rewatch, which has been fun.
That's right.
Which has been fun and will continue to be fun for a little while, and then it's going to hit a couple of seasons where it's not so much fun, and then it will get fun again. So we may just want to
drop out for
I may
a
just
while.
want to say, Catherine, you go ahead and watch those, and then we'll talk
So
about
I
them.
know what's happening.
I'll check back in when we get to the Jimmy Smith's Alan Alda season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's always gems in amongst, and it's that thing, like we say, watching people you enjoy, even if what they're doing is not your favorite thing. But anyway, so we've used the year. We did okay. We did some of that stuff, and we did other things.
That's right.
So what is your New Year's resolution for this year, pop culture or otherwise? Have you made any?
Well, not pop culture-y exactly, but I have talked about on the podcast before the app Duolingo that helps you learn a language.
Cool.
And the way it works is it's a series of little lessons around a theme, and each lesson takes only 3 to 5 minutes to do. And you complete the lesson, and then it's kind of turns orange, like, yay, you did it.
Neat.
But then after some time goes by, it turns color again, and you need to go back and do it again to practice it.
That's neat.
So, yeah. And so I got in the habit of trying to keep everything orange. And so that I was constantly just going back and doing old ones and never making any forward progress. So now my goal is to complete them all, go through the whole series and then go back to the beginning and, rework some of the old ones.
What language are you trying to learn?
I'm doing French, which I already know, but it's to help me just remember it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So my goal is to finish the whole course of French lessons.
Nice. Now, does it cost money to do that? Do you pay for it?
Nope. It's a free app.
Wow.
And the kind of aren't you cute thing that they do is they congratulate you if you get a streak. If you do it every day. They're like, good job. You have a 5-day streak. You have a whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you miss a day, then they say, you lost your streak. Would you like to pay $2.99 to get it back? Nope, I really don't care.
As in-app purchases go, that's not the most compelling, is it?
Right. Bless you for trying to make money, because I appreciate that you need money to make this work, but that's not gonna get me to do it.
Wow. Well, I may need to check that out. That sounds cool. I could use to brush up on my French also.
Yeah, it's fun, and like I said, you can do a lesson in a couple of minutes.
That's
and
nice.
One thing I like about it is that it doesn't focus exclusively on, say, reading, writing. It's everything. You have to be able to speak, to listen, to read, and to write.
So you have to speak into it, and then it judges how you're speaking?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to be able to talk into your microphone.
Yikes.
And you can say, if you're somewhere where you can't talk, you can say, I can't talk right now, and it will skip it for that time.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's a good
fun.
I like it.
All right.
I mean, and as with any language learning app, there's stupid, weird sentences that come up, I think that bear is laughing or whatever. No, I don't think so.
Was it the pen of my aunt is on the desk? Wasn't that always the language sentence when we were in school? Well, you know what? We'll expect a year from now for you to be able to speak in French on our podcast.
That's right.
Set that as a goal.
So that would be one, and see a couple of movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least 3 right now that I want to see, which are La La Land, Hidden Figures.
Oh, yeah.
And Lion.
Yeah. I'm with you on the first 2.
Not interested in the poor orphan from India.
See, that falls into that doesn't sound like so much fun.
Right.
Category. am stingy with my time. I want to be entertained and amused.
Right.
And uplifted. Well, it's probably uplifting in some way, but I don't have to work too hard, basically.
Right.
This is a terrible thing that I am confessing, and I will probably cut this out before the podcast goes. Please send your angry Twitter posts too. Anyway, well, I guess one of the things that I am resolving, and we'll all have a hearty laugh over this, is I'd like to get more sleep at night. I'm resolving to go to bed 11, 12 o'clock-ish, and then wake up at like 7-ish in the morning and start my workday early so that I don't have to stay up till 2 in the morning. I am on day 4 of this plan, and sort of, if we accent on the ish, I'm doing okay.
Good.
We'll see if it makes it to week 2. But it's nice. I like it. But,
Good.
It does not allow very well for the odd catastrophe, work-related catastrophe, that you then have to, once you have to stay up all night to do something, then it's impossible to get back on that schedule.
Right.
So I'm working on it because I think sleep is a good thing, and I think that it's something that if I look back on 2016, my lack thereof was a problem in many ways, So I would like to be that person who gets enough sleep and is so organized in their work that they get their work done and then they can watch TV and do stuff like that. I aspire to that. But I will also continue my search for the magical, was it the time turner is what we were talking about, right?
Right.
If it's out there somewhere, I'm going to find it. But, yes. And then I also would like to consume more entertainment. That would be a resolution. I would like to get back to reading. I have some books that I would like to read. And just, being able to say, you know what, I'm going to stop and for the next half hour, I'm going to read a book or hour or 3. That was nice when I was doing that. I really enjoyed it. That was a really nice anti-stress thing. It was a nice leisure time, me time thing. I miss that. I would like to get back to that. I'm not sure I can. It may run counter to my get enough sleep plan.
Right.
Maybe. So what I would like to do is get a lot of sleep and then also add more things to my day. These are not sure, but and watch more movies, if not in the theaters, then on Netflix or on TV, and keep up with TV shows that I enjoy. To be able to just stop and watch a TV show is a nice thing. So
okay, your list's getting very long.
Yes, I enjoy making impossible things for myself, and then I have a reason to say, well, it just couldn't be done. What do you want from me? There's only 24 hours. So we will see next year how we do with that. We've been a little more haven't made quite so many resolutions as we did last year. Right. They're a little more vague. So we can find a way to say we did them.
Yes. Good. Yes. Well, and then we thought for today, since this is the first parenting roundabout of 2017, we would look back on 2016 and take a quick listen to some of our most popular episodes.
Yeah, let's look at what our listeners seemed to like the most. Our absolute most popular episode of the year by a little bit was one called Saving Face on Facebook. So what we have now learned is that if we want to get a lot of downloads, Facebook! It's an episode about Facebook.
Everybody loves to complain about Facebook.
Absolutely, yeah. Lots of pull quotes complaining about Facebook. Take off like wildfire. So on that episode, I think we talked about the difficulty of policing your child and, more importantly, other people's children on Facebook, and the etiquette that does not yet exist to be able to say to somebody, hey, did you see the selfie your kid posted? Maybe you want to talk to her about that. Or, I noticed that your kid posted about a party, or, to know how to deal with other parents who are maybe not following their kids so closely, and to feel that you have to be Facebook block mom.
Right. So let's listen to a little bit of that and hear what we said back in the day.
Being the Facebook police, as I think a lot of us parents try to be, I am a strong believer in following your child or your children's friends on Facebook as a way to offer some supervision and oversight. But when you do that, it's hard to know what to do with the information you find. I mean, do you rat a kid out to a parent for what they do online? Do you talk to the kid yourself and threaten them? I'm going to tell your mom if you don't stop doing that. If it's your kid, do you mandate delete the thing that you don't like, or do you just suggest it? And if they say, I want to keep it there, what do you do? You know, it's like, it's important to have this information, but I don't feel like we have built an etiquette structure around what to do with it the way we do, say, you know, used to be you would be watching The Neighborhood, and if somebody's kid did something. This is sort of like watching The Neighborhood, but I don't think that we've built in a way to, there needs to be a reporting structure. I mean, you know, to say, hey, I noticed your child who you think is not on the internet has a Facebook page. How do you start that conversation? I have had that conversation actually before. So I know you guys have also feel the need to keep an eye on internet doings. And so I thought I'd see how you are navigating this awkward territory. Catherine, I know you have probably eyes on a lot of very young people on the internet and wishing they would stop communicating altogether.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this once before, but I kind of cringe whenever a friend's kid or one of my kids' friends friend me on Facebook.
It's a lot of friends.
You know, I mean,
like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. Right. Most of the time, I just don't want or need to see what that person is posting, nor do I want or need them to see what I'm posting.
See, that's what I worry about.
And I'm okay
more.
with, yeah. Like, because I know I'm not going to sit there and customize the who gets to see my status like every time. That's hard. And I'm okay with older kids or kids that are far away or, you know, not local, but I kind of want to gently ignore the younger ones. Like I ignore random people on LinkedIn who try to connect me. But at the same time, I do depend on other people to help me with my own kid. Like, for example, I'm not on Snapchat, but my sister and my sister-in-law and my cousin are all on there, and, you know, they're friends or whatever with my daughter on Snapchat. Yeah. So if she puts up something that they can see that's not cool, then they'll tell me. Yeah. You know? Are you happy to get that news? Because then what do you do with it? Well, yeah. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, thank goodness. I've had some situations lately where people have thoughtfully given me information about my kids that I did not know, and then I have to deal with the situation. And I was so happy before they told me about it, and I could be oblivious. And so every time, I recently had somebody on Facebook who I wasn't sure was really allowed to be there, and I'm thinking, well, I'll email her, I'll call her mom, and then I'm thinking, if I were her mom, I would not. It's like, thank you for delivering me this terrible problem that I now have to deal with. You know, I appreciate it. Yeah. Never talk to me again. So.
Yeah, I had a friend who was telling me this story. He was he's like a 16 and 17-year-old, and they were sitting in the car, and the 16 and 17-year-old were talking about their cousin's Tinder account. And he was like, wait a minute, who has a Tinder account? And they were like, wait, no, don't tell Uncle so-and-so who happens to be my friend's brother. And he was like, wait, do you guys have Tinder accounts? And they were like, well, and he was like, but how do I know you're telling me? You know, so it was this weird kind of thing, like, which I thought was like just terrifying. That was, then
suddenly your perfect day is now going to be.
Yeah, he was
worry about Tinder.
He's pretty laid back. He was just kind of like, no, I don't know what to do with that info. You know, like, and I was like, I just don't either, because I just don't know. I'm lucky enough that my 13-year-old, no interest in social media. He's on Twitter, and I can see everything he does on Twitter, right? You know, like, that's easy. Mm-hmm. My daughter's on almost everything, but she's old enough now that it's kind of like, you know, she has to own her own stuff there. You know, I don't tell her to delete things, but I'm pretty generous with if she tags me, so to hide it from my timeline button. Yeah. You know, like, don't add to my timeline. I'm like Catherine, though. The stuff that irritates me is like being, and not irritates, but like friended by kids' friends and knowing all the nonsense they're up to. And I'm always surprised, like, this mundanity and personal stuff that they post. It's like, every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, I see what you had for lunch. I see what you had for dinner. I see who you're talking with now. And then I'm like, oh, and now I see something that I did not want to know. You know, kind of like, it's right in the middle. But I don't tell other parents about stuff I see unless it's something dangerous, which I've done once. I've done once. There was
do you think it's good for kids to know, though, that somebody may see and rat them out? Do you think it provides some
I don't
caution?
know. I don't think so. Like, I mean, I think ideally it should, but I think a lot of the kids, it's just like, they're just like, well, whatever. It's not that big a deal. Every once in a while I'll comment. I'll make some sort of snarky little comment on something that sort of has like that. It's like the virtual version of the, my eyes are on you, man, kind of thing, so, so every once in a while I'll just insert GIF here, right? Yeah. So every once in a while I'll do that.
I gotta make one of those up, yeah.
I don't know. I think I have enough to manage with my own 3 kids that it's not my job to manage other people's relationship with their child. Yeah. And so do
you have any friends who are just completely not on the internet and their kids are? I feel a responsibility to those people.
Most of my friends.
Yeah. I don't know, actually. I think
I might have mentioned that we had the situation where my son has a friend who is not on the internet at all, and his parents are not on the internet at all, but all of a sudden he had a Facebook page, and it turned out that it was put up by other people. It wasn't real. And so it's like I told his mom, and she was completely freaked out because she doesn't know anything about Facebook. And afterwards I thought, I should have tried to handle it myself and not brought them in at all, because the kid was really upset that there was this picture of him online and he hadn't put it there. And so I eventually took a long time to get Facebook to take it down. But, I felt like it was my responsibility because his family wasn't on at all and in any shape to be able to do it. So
I think most of the kids I know, at least one of their parents is on, so like, I think there's at least one, there are definitely the people who are just like not on Facebook, but there's somebody else who is, like it's one parent or the other, or an aunt or an uncle, or sometimes a grandparent, which is weird, but I think that's your guideline right there, right? If you don't want your grandma to read it, don't put it on Facebook.
Yeah, true. Grandmas are ruining Facebook. That's why they're over on Snapchat and Tinder and whatever all else. Nicole, did you say anything yet? Do you have any?
No, no, I haven't said anything yet. So okay. I will say something.
What do you think?
Well, both my kids aren't on Facebook very much, to almost nothing.
So that means you can talk about them on Facebook.
So I can generally talk about them as long as I don't tag them, because I think they all lurk. They just don't post because it's not cool to post on Facebook anymore.
Really?
So yeah. So all the parents are there, right? So that's not the place to be. So they're over on Snapchat and Instagram. They're actually not even using Instagram as much anymore. In the early days of Facebook, we did oversee my son's account quite a bit, and we did heavily monitor what he put up there. And actually, most recently, he was quite active on Twitter and had his account available to the public. And I said, dude, future employers are going to have access to that.
Absolutely.
So I encouraged him to make his account private. So he and his girlfriend actually subsequently made their accounts private because of that. So, I don't have a lot of access anymore to their social media. I just hope that what we said and did in the early days has a lasting impact.
Right.
And we also talked about the social pressure to celebrate every big occasion bigly on Facebook, and whether it's okay to just like not wish people you hardly remember how you know a happy birthday. Right. Or will that be a red mark on your permanent record if you don't? I don't know. I do say happy birthday.
What about you, Terry?
I do, and I like the prompt to say happy birthday, but I do, maybe because I'm a writer, always feel like, can I just say happy birthday and press it and that's it?
Oh, I know.
Sometimes, should I use their name or should I not use their name? I'm 100% sure which name they go by. What if I give the wrong name? Then I'll just do happy birthday. And, and then you see other people do like a paragraph. Should I do a paragraph? Is just happy birthday kind of rude? So I do think about it like way more than I should.
Or like, did I just say the same thing that 14 other people said? Should I say something pithier?
I don't care. Well,
oh, you don't care about that? I always have that.
I don't care.
Oh,
but,
somebody else just said
I think
what I wanted to.
I do.
It's too hard to come up with some variation on happy birthday. Like basically every single day is somebody's birthday.
Well, I do feel like the Facebook prompt that gives you that little tiny space is sort of licensed to just say happy birthday and leave it at that. That's sort of what you're called upon to do. But I do then feel inferior when I look at their wall. I've got much more. But I'm generally in favor of celebrations and observances for everything. If people want to put it up, it doesn't bother me. And I do like getting the happy birthdays. And my kids definitely like getting the happy birthdays. So it's very meaningful to some people, I guess. It
you
doesn't,
know what? I will say, though, I do it with kids more than I do it with adults. So that's a good point. Excellent point. Yeah.
You know, I was looking on Mother's Day. A lot of people had found pictures of their mother to put up for their profile picture for the day, which I never change my profile picture because it seems like too much effort to just do it for a day. But I was thinking, geez, you know, should I be getting up and finding a picture of my mother and taking a picture of it and uploading it online and by the time I did that, it would no longer be Mother's Day.
There's an option now where you can put a temporary picture. You can do it for a day.
Yeah, but I would have to find one. Oh, you know? And it's not like she you know. It seems like a nice thing to do, but not worth the trouble.
I was all confused too. I'm like, wait, who is that on Facebook now?
Who are all these old people on my Facebook timeline all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean that's where I have trouble with it. Is just that expectation. You know, there's pressure. Find that picture, take that picture, come up with something new and different to say, you know, every time. And, you know, on Mother's Day, I wasn't really on Facebook. I wanted to just do my own thing, and the same on other holidays. I feel like, you know, ducking away from the family celebration just so you can post that you're having a family celebration is weird.
I don't know. Usually when I'm having a family celebration, I'm really happy to have a reason to
You'd like to go away. Yes, I know.
Excuse me, just have to go in the bedroom for 45 minutes and play on the internet. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
That's so funny. I was thinking that on Thanksgiving this year. All these pictures of turkey tables of turkey, and I'm like, wait, did you make everybody stop so you could take the picture and put it on
Right,
Facebook?
didn't you want to just eat your turkey?
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of birthdays and anniversaries and maybe even Mother's Day, the on this day feature on Facebook is handy because you can just post the same. Hey, now it's 2 years later and it's still my son's birthday today, so happy birthday to him. What a great kid.
There you go.
It doesn't work for places things like Mother's Day, unfortunately, because it changes the date.
No, it's not going to be on the same day. Yeah.
But the birthday thing, that's a great idea. I love that. I think I'm getting...
Nicole, what do you do in this?
I like getting the happy birthdays. And giving them, because most of my friends and family don't live around here, so it's kind of nice to. And I don't have 1,000 friends on Facebook, so the friends that are on Facebook are people that I generally have a connection with. So it's kind of nice to hear from them, and especially when we first moved down here and I didn't know anybody. It was nice to get all those messages.
Okay, you guys, I'll start wishing you a happy birthday.
Yeah,
and I'll wish people a happy birthday. But then I I make my kids do a tribute post to me at least once a year.
That's hilarious.
Either my birthday or Mother's Day, and you have to do a tribute post.
Nice.
You spend all year posting about your friends and your wonderful life, and you need to say something nice about me.
And so what are the stakes here? If they don't do it, do you put up baby pictures and embarrassing things?
Well, they'll just be ignored for a day. It's very passive aggressive.
Right. Passive aggressive. You are a master. I forget.
Too funny.
And we'll of course be bringing you many more complaints about Facebook in 2017, because that's what we talk about these days. We spend all our time on social media, and when we're not on social media, we talk about it.
When we're not talking about social media, we are thinking fondly about dead tree media, right? And so we had a speed round where we talked about school supplies of our youth.
Ah, yes. And that was our most popular speed round this year. So apparently y'all are interested in remembering Trapper Keepers and metal lunchboxes and Pee-Chee folders too. I maintain that Pee-Chee folder is not something only I have heard of, even though amongst our little group, y'all were going, huh? Right. But I think I researched it a little bit, and I think it was a regional thing. But it's one of those things that if you were in the region that had them, everybody had them, and they were a cultural touchstone. So let's hear
about them.
On TV now about school supplies, and that seems to be the thing that people have on their minds. But since I am not personally school shopping for anybody this year, I got to thinking about school supplies from when I was a kid and whether any of those things still exist. For example, do they still make Pee-Chee folders, and do kids still use them? I think the last time I checked, there was someplace you could order them online for a lot of money. Do you guys know what Pee-Chee folders are?
I was just going to say, I don't know what that is. Actually.
I don't either.
Really? Oh, either I am older than you or it was regional. But they were like orange colored folders, but not glossy, kind of a almost, I guess matte. But and they had pictures of high school kids doing things like cheerleading and playing football, like line drawings on them. And it was, I think it was P-E-A-C-H-E-E, Pee-Chee folders. And for a while, that was the thing that everybody had, was the Pee-Chee folders. I will put a link to these in case nobody listening to me has any idea what I'm talking about. But I remember them with nostalgia and always wished I could get them for my own kids, but they don't exist. Do kids still get like pencil boxes? Remember the pencil boxes with the little thing that you pushed up? Yes. And it scrolled around back? Do they still make those? Do kids use them? I don't know. You guys have been shopping. What do you wish kids still used from when you were a kid?
My kids have had to have pencil boxes, but not that kind like you described.
Yeah.
They tend to have like the zippered pouches, and actually they've had some really cute ones that are like one my daughter got just within the last year or two. That's a zippered pouch, and it's got really like big loops of yarn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that one. I don't remember having to have a pencil box when I was a kid. I don't remember even having to have school supply. Like, I just feel like they gave them them at us. I
think so, too. I just wanted the pencil box.
I miss, like, the Trapper Keeper. Do you remember your first Trapper Keeper? I think they must still make them, but my kids don't want Trapper. They're like, Mom, that's just lame, Right. No Trapper Keepers.
You can probably get them on eBay.
But I just want to say to them, that was the thing. I had to save up for my Trapper Keeper, and then I'm like, and then I walked in the snow to buy it 2 miles uphill each way.
No kidding.
Nicole, what sort of special Canadian school supplies do you remember fondly from your youth? Regale us with the differences of our cultures.
Well, we still use them in our schools, and down here as well, but we had a different name for them. We call them duotangs, which are like a folder, with the it's like a 3-ring folder, paper folder. No, I don't know what you call them here. Just a folder, really, is what you call them.
It's a 3-ring binder. It's
not a binder. It's like a report cover,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we call those duotangs. So I still see them floating around, and but lunch boxes. My daughter refuses to take one, and I'm like, I had the best lunch boxes when I was a kid. Why don't they do that anymore?
Yeah, do they still have cool lunch boxes with like characters on them, the metal ones with a little thermos and stuff?
They don't make metal lunch boxes anymore. Like you can buy them like on eBay, but I think they're considered weaponry at this point.
Oh, good.
That's true. You can do some damage with one of those thermoses. Like
my daughter.
Did people actually bring soup to school in a thermos? I think I probably did. I remember they were like soup.
Soup, like Campbell's ones,
yeah.
Wow.
My daughter doesn't take a lunch. She refuses to eat lunch, so I don't know what.
She doesn't eat lunch at all?
Well, she just has bits and pieces. She's almost like a bento box kind of girl. Like a lunchbox kind of girl. I know, right?
Ah, yes, kids today. With their
they will
bento
never
boxes
know the
in
joy. Never know the joy of the Pee-Chee folder.
The Pee-Chee folder and the metal lunchbox. I miss metal lunchboxes. They're totally. My kids had like soft fabric lunchboxes and plastic things. It's not the same.
I know, you can't really like whack someone over the head with that.
I was just thinking that, you know?
Get any response.
And finally, our most popular round 2 of the year was about our continuing Parks and Recreation Marathon and also about the Great British Baking Show. We're thinking that the mention of the Great British Baking Show is what made it the most popular episode of the year and not the Parks and Rec mention, though we have all the Parks and Rec love. But Great British Baking Show is something that quite a lot of people wanted to watch and talk about and apparently listen to podcasts about. Not so much the Great American Baking Show, I think.
Which we will continue doggedly to bring to you,
whether you want it or
week.
not. But the Great British Baking Show certainly has the same very sweet and genteel competition about it. I watched one episode for that podcast talk. Catherine, you watched it fairly regularly?
Yes, I watched. I think I watched the most recent season that they played on PBS.
And you know what? I might try to watch that now. As much as I ever can, because I really did enjoy the American version, even though I don't understand it at all.
Well, let's listen to the round 2, a clip from the old one, and maybe that will inspire you to go back and watch some more. I don't remember back to the first one I watched.
I watched half of the first one, and it was quite adorable.
It is. It's really adorable, and it's a great family show. You know that you can. My kids like it. It's fun to watch because it's a reality competition show, but it is very sweet, and there are no jerky people. There's no like horrible strategy, editing for drama kind of thing. The drama is all in, they actually sit and stare through the oven, through the door of the oven, watching their stuff bake, and you're with them. You're there with your, heart in your throat. Is it gonna rise? And you can't believe that you're interested enough to watch that, but in fact
the one that I watched, they were making sponge cake to do this roll up thing, and if you cook it a little too long, it'll crack when you roll it up, but if you cook it not enough, it's mushy and disgusting, and it was really like 2 minutes of them checking in the oven, peeking inside, not quite ready yet, I'm a little worried, maybe it's gonna be too done. It was very cute.
It's great. I definitely recommend it. I'm not sure how many. Pop Culture Happy Hour did a little segment about it a little while ago and tried to explain how the British seasons compare to what they've shown here, and apparently they've done it sort of all out of order. And they started with like season 3, and then they went back and showed season 2, and then they went to season 4, or I don't know how they did it, but it doesn't really matter. You can watch it whenever, because obviously there's someone eliminated each week, but it's fun to watch at any point in the season, I think.
I was very nervous for them all. They all seemed very nice.
Yes.
And that's the only thing I don't like about these competitions, because I feel bad that somebody's going to have to go home. I feel bad for them and stuff. But it reminded me of something that Minnie Driver said recently in conjunction with Speechless, which is her new show for the fall season, is that you can say very rude things in a British accent and it still sounds nice. So even when they were like criticizing people, it came off so sweet. Right. Like, well, this is really quite terrible.
Yeah. The judges are very, they're not pushovers, but they do always find something good to say.
Yes.
And they also explain why something didn't work.
Right.
you didn't have enough sugar, and so it's not soft enough, or whatever I don't know how to bake. So, like there's all different kinds of flour that they could have chosen. And, actually you should have chosen a different kind of flour and maybe it would have worked better. Yeah. That kind of thing. And so if you are a baker, I imagine you could actually learn a little something from it. Yeah. So it's very charming and highly recommended.
The host or hosts seemed, not the judges, but the people, it seemed very funny. I really enjoyed the commentary. It was quite cute.
Yeah, they are funny, and they're apparently some sort of British comedy duo. It's these two women, and yeah, they're fun, and they all it just seems to be like one big happy family.
It does. It really does. I really enjoyed the little bit of it I watched, and if I had time to watch more stuff, I would watch. I might watch some of it with my daughter.
Yeah, I think she would like it if she likes cooking shows.
How many seasons of it have you watched, or is this just your beginning?
I've probably watched 2 whole ones, or the majority of 2 seasons, I would say. Yeah.
And is it usually the same sorts of stuff that they do all the time? Well, I guess baking. There's only so many. It seemed like they were doing one that they could have their own recipe, which they were able to prepare ahead of time, and then one time they have a surprise. They have to cook one of the judges' recipes, something like that. Right.
Yes, there's 3 parts. The first is, I forget what they call it, but I believe they know in advance what they're going.
There was like a signature challenge, and then there was a technical challenge.
Right, and then the showstopper is the final thing. So the signature one, the one that I watched recently, which was the finale, it was iced buns. And so
of course it was.
My husband and I thought it was going to be like an eclair, you know. But really it was like hot dog buns basically, but with creamy filling and then icing on top.
Oh, you say that's a bad thing. It sounds delicious.
They looked quite good. And then the first one, they get to kind of do their own spin on whatever this particular thing is, and I believe they have advance notice because they bring some of the ingredients that they want to use.
Right, and they had this is my mother's recipe, or this. I kind of liked that it's not, gee, what can I think of on my feet? Although I have my suspicions that most of those cooking, they must just tell them at least your ingredients will be from this list of 50, because people seem to have ideas of what to do with things.
Right.
But on this, they were clear that you were prepared.
Right. And then the second piece, the second part, the middle piece, is called the technical challenge, and they're given a recipe without advance preparation. They're given all the ingredients and the recipe, but the recipe, I think, has been sort of stripped down. Yeah. Because they don't necessarily know what they're doing. And it's kind of fun to watch them. Yeah. Well, what am I supposed to do? And just see how they interpret it. Yeah. And then they're blind judged on that one. On the first and third one, the judges know who's whose, but on the middle one, they do not. And then on the final, this is the showstopper, which again, I believe they have advance notice, because that's supposed to be a big fancy showstopper, you know? Whether it's a certain kind of cake or a bread or a trifle or all different kinds of things. So yeah, I
didn't realize there were 3. I got through the first one, and then they were saying, well, now your next one. I said, there's going to be 2 in each episode, but there's 3, huh? That's a lot of baking.
Yeah, and they do it over the course of a weekend, and then they go home and practice some more on the weekend, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that seemed if you like competition cooking shows, but they seem a little mean-spirited sometimes for you.
Exactly.
This is just, at least as much of it as I watched, very sweet and genteel, as one would expect, and many adorable accents, if you like that sort of thing.
Yes. And just in general, the contestants seem lovely. I mean, I don't know how they're finding them, but they're not there for fame and fortune, because they don't even win any money, I don't think. No. They win like a cake plate. But they're just charming people
Yes.
that are lovely to spend an hour with.
They did all seem to be, and they are portrayed that way also. They're allowed to be depicted as basically lovely people and not cutthroat or anything.
Right.
Or, so, they didn't put a real, at least at the beginning, a real hard thing on the competition end of it. It was mostly just, gee, I would like to make a roll cake that does not fall apart.
Right. Yeah.
And they were not all successful in that endeavor.
Right.
So those were our tops from 2016, and we look forward to bringing you more good stuff to listen to in 2017. And we thank you very much for listening to us. Got a little more listenership every year, and we appreciate that. Please continue, make a resolution of your own to continue listening to Parenting Roundabout.
That's right.
If you don't have much time to listen, like me, we have 4 speed rounds a week that are usually under 5 minutes. If you are looking for things to procrastinate with, we have 1 episode a week that is 30 to 45 minutes, our Friday group chat. And we generally get a little talky on our round 2s also. So we are there for all your needs, your quick listening and your I need something to occupy my brain while I sit here at work needs, or while I sit here in a waiting room, or while I drive my kids someplace. We are here for you.
Exactly.
All the time.
That's right. And that'll be it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope that you enjoyed it. And you know, of course, that you can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download it from iTunes. And we hope you'll subscribe so you'll get everything without even having to think about it. You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at About Family Fit, Terri is at Momitude, and Nicole is at Nicole Eredics. You can also follow Amanda Morin, who podcasted with us for most of 2016, at Amanda Morin. And you can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat, and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too. And best of all, stop by our blog at parentingroundabout.com to read recaps, find links on all the stories we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin for providing our in and out music. And I wish everyone a great week, and join us on Sunday evening, January 8th, for live tweeting of the Golden Globes.
Absolutely.